Hello, everyone. Welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around fantasy Premier League. My name's Serge.
And my name is James.
James, it's the end of game week 28. What a game week. I feel like there are a dozen different stories all happening all at the same time that we kind of need to talk about. There is the madness of your bench boost that took place this weekend. There is my team was a disaster this weekend. There is all of these injuries and flag players that has happened all over the weekend. Not only that, there's probably as many refereeing controversies that I've seen in a game week in quite some time. Not only that, the players not turning up, and now we've got a whole bunch of other flags. Not only that, we've now got like 24 hours. Well, it's not quite 24 hours. Let's say another 36, 40 hours till
worst week to have a midweek deadline.
It just feels like it's been a bit of a madness this weekend with all of the football, and for you and me personally as well, James. Like, all of it is a little bit irrelevant right now because of other things that are going on, and it's just a bit of a madness. So I don't even know.
Just clarify that it's football club related rather than personal issues.
Yes, though I would say
although it is a personal issue.
let's get into it. We'll wrap up a little bit around my team and where my head's at with FPL before we go on and talk about your weekend, which was hugely more eventful with the bench boost, but also the incredible game week score as well. I don't know what your game week rank was, but you'll enlighten us all. I said to you off air before we started recording, like, I'm the least engaged with FPL that I have been for quite some time. I'm not doing great. Like, I'm inside the top million. It's nothing to be excited about. I've been ticking along for quite some time. But I don't think it's because my team's doing badly that I'm disengaged as much, if I'm honest with you. I think if my team was doing better, would I be more engaged? Absolutely. And we'll talk about that with where your head is at. But I think there's a couple of things. Obviously, West Ham's situation is really pressing. And you said, the personal situations are not part of what the trauma is. But it just feels the world's a mess, if I'm honest with you. And this is not a political show, so we're not going to get into it. But there's wars kicking off all over the place, and there's so much unrest, and there's turmoil. And if I'm picking up my phone and looking at YouTube, I'm looking at what's going on with the news or trying to keep myself informed a little bit. Or if my head's thinking about football, I'm thinking about West Ham. Like, all through yesterday, the 2 o'clocks, I couldn't give a shit about FPL, James. All I'm thinking is lose Spurs, lose Spurs, lose Spurs, lose Forest, lose Forest, lose Forest. All I'm thinking, all Saturday night after we'd lost, was not even thinking about FPL, where I'm just thinking, right, okay, well, what if some buts? Well, if Spurs lose or Spurs draw, but then we can beat Fulham, but then they lose to Palace. Right now, we've been in relegation scraps, West Ham, before, don't get me wrong. But this is the first time that it's been, in my opinion, as precarious as it is this season. And with 10 games to go, honestly, I my headspace is more taken up by that than I thought it would be, if I'm honest with you, in relation to FPL. So I'm kind of like, look, I made 2 transfers on Friday. We had a Friday deadline, so it was a quick turnaround, right? I was going to buy Thiago. I had a 3-move planned. Was it Thiago, Krupi Jr., and then I was going to replace Chalobah with Van Dijk? No, Joachim Anderson. Well, that didn't work out anyway. And you suggested just do James Hill for Chalobah and Thiago for Brobby, who was injured.
Oh, Brobby
was injured for me. And then leave 2 free transfers and leave a bit of money, and then I can come and address it this week, which now that with flags was great. Honestly, at like 5:15 or something, and it was when I reopened my team again after we did the differential in the morning, and I just went against the Planet FPL phrase to play it your way, and I just did that because I didn't have the headspace to think about what else to do. I was like, it seems a reasonable suggestion. It could have been worse. Don't get me wrong. I had the Vice armband on Thiago, and
could have been better.
Yeah, could have been better. So yeah, just trudging along. Like I'll wrap up. I got 64 points this week. My safety score was 68, so it was a red arrow. I did well off the two Arsenal defensive boys in Gabriel and Timber, 9 and 8 respectively. I had Jared Bowen, very random, like DEFCON assist 7-pointer, no BPS from him, obviously in a 7-goal game. You're not going to expect that. Igor Thiago, Burnley away, 4 goals for Brentford, just the goal for him. But that was my vice captaincy. Bruno Fernandes and Declan Rice with a DEFCON. That was it. I also had Maxence Lacroix. And had Maxence Lacroix stayed on the pitch, he ended up with a 3-pointer. I believe I would have ended up with a grey arrow rather than a red arrow, but he shot me in the foot. You know, just the whole concept of him scoring on Thursday, having been on my chopping block for quite some time, to scoring within the first 10 minutes or whatever, 15 minutes, whatever it was, to thinking, oh, this is a bit of a touch because he's my first sub coming in from Erling Haaland, to being sent off and conceding 2 goals afterwards. Yeah, complete pain in the arse. Blanks for Bumo, blanks for Enzo, and blanks for Hill and Sanchez. 64 points. It is what it is. Nothing exciting going on here at all, James.
Okay, I had another one of them weeks that I guess I'm never going to forget. There was a point last night where it looked like I was going to finish on 101, and I thought, well, I really will be Mr. 101 now if this is what happens. So I bench boosted, and people want to call it wasted the chip. You're right, aren't you? Because of the outcome of what happened. But despite the outcome,
that depends on perspective.
Yeah, put me back on Friday afternoon. Do I change my decision to activate? Absolutely not. No. And I think as it turned out, my players probably wouldn't have done much, right? If all my players had played, I probably would have been looking at a bench boost score, I think around about 11 or 12, probably. So that wouldn't have obviously been the best. My vice captain scored 15 times 2, so that's outscored the bench boost. But I think what we do with bench boost is we focus so much on the what the outcome was. So the bench boost itself has ended up scoring 1 point. Thankfully, one of our patrons has sent me an image of one team that bench boosted this week that did score 0. So mine was not the worst bench boost of the whole season. And we've seen other people activate it in weeks where they've just got 4 flag players on the bench. You're like, what are you doing? You're obviously not interested in the game. But there's so much decision making that goes on before and afterwards that leads to this sort of thing. So as I said on Friday with David, one of the reasons that began to start pointing me in this direction towards a bench boost was Nico O'Reilly. Now, rather than week to week being like I don't know if he's going to play, so bench boost can never be on the table for me, to going, he's like near 100% starter now. And by consequence of his points and the rank rise I'd had recently, it now made bench boost a possibility. So if I'd not had Nico O'Reilly over the last couple of weeks, I wouldn't have had them points, and it wouldn't have led me towards bench boost. And as I said on the deadline stream on Friday, we won't know whether it does well or bad if it's the right decision until the end of the season. Because now I'm on a different path to many other people in terms of what I do around 32, 33. So there's a consequence of what I've done and what it means moving forward that I now no longer need to think about a 15-player game. Oh, well, wildcard into 15 players. Yeah, well, I don't need to wildcard into 15 players.
I don't think that's quite fair to say we don't know how it's going to look until the end of the season.
Oh, we can say this. We can say this is I would be better off of not used it if I just used it on any other week all season. It would have been better.
Sure, but if your bench boost hadn't worked out like this, say Haaland had played and whatever else, then would you rather have had a better bench boost by 20 points, but your team score less, right? I think when you look at bench boost, you have to look at the total score of the 15 players. You can't look at... So people will sacrifice their main 11 to have a better bench sometimes, or vice versa. So how many points have you sacrificed out of your 11 to get more points out of the 4 that are on the bench? You can't look at it like that. You have to look at 15 players overall. So in the game week...
I disagree with that.
I look at it as if you look at... in the game week that you played your bench boost, how many points were you above safety? Probably 20, 25, maybe even.
For me, 24ish, I think. I don't know. I didn't
Yeah,
check.
that's huge. So if I play my bench boost in another different game week, and I'm not, and let's say it's a double game week, but I'm only ahead of safety by 10, who had a better game week? Who
Oh,
had a
I
better
have,
bench
haven't
boost
I?
game week? Exactly. So I think the fact that you and how often are we ahead of safety by 24 points? Like that's a huge amount to be ahead of safety, James.
It's
So
still.
I think you could look at it like
I
that.
would still judge if people want to say it's a bench boost failure. I'm absolutely fine with that though, because ultimately, my judgment on the bench boost with right, you try and get the best score you can from all your substitute game weeks across obviously this year half of a football season, and that's flopped, isn't it? But it's also not flopped because I necessarily made bad decision making, right? Kelleher's missus had a baby. Andy Martin did not DM me and give me information on that. Erling Haaland, obviously, no show for Manchester City. I did not have the intel on that. I don't think anybody did, by the way, for what it's worth. And Joachim Anderson's sick. How am I meant to know those things? But point being, you're absolutely right. I could have had that bench boost score, let's say 11, 12, which I think probably roughly would have been the return if everybody had played, because I would have had Declan Rice 5, Verbruggen 3, 8, one from Chow, let's call it Anderson, somewhere between the 2 pointer, maybe a Defcon, maybe a clean sheet, we'll call it 3 points, say 12, right? But if Haaland plays and he scores 2 points, I go, oh, I've got 12
You're
points from the
15
bench
down
boost. I've lost.
on Ekatike. So
Now,
that's
obviously,
why
that would be if Haaland blanked. Who knows? Haaland might have played and scored a hat trick. Who knows?
yeah, that's why I personally don't look at it like that. I try and take a slightly a helicopter view of the whole picture rather than just the bench boost. And I get what you're saying. People say it's a bench boost failure, sure. But there's also situations where we've had weeks with bench boost where people end up with very similar bench boosts. And what's the differential factor on it? Like I'm looking at your game week rank, it's 16,000, James. 16,153. I'll take that all day long. And you're right in the other point you made right at the beginning, which is that now you're on a different path, which who knows what it will open up to. But all I will say is at 6,788 overall rank, just win it. Like I'm here, I'm the supporting cast here for you. Nico's already down the toilet. Him and I had a bet at the start of the season that patrons will know because of Nico's corner. If he beat me, he got 3 extra days of holiday this year. If there was ever a season like, if he can't beat me this year, I don't the guy needs help. He doesn't
He's
listen
miles
to you
off.
anyway. But Nico's not there. Manchild hasn't logged into his team since 2023, I want to say. David's doing all right. I don't know what
David's
kind of
doing
game
well.
week he had.
He had a great game week.
97 as well.
But he's got nearly the same team as me.
He's just
Copycat, ain't
copying
he?
you. Fine. Content creator. Oh, okay. He's gone from copying content creators to be a content creator copying content creators. I'll have a word with him. Don't worry about that. But yeah, he's doing all right. He's 50k overall, but you're 6,700. Just do it for the views. Let's go and help James win the whole of the damn thing. Talk to me about Friday night, because you mentioned Andy Martin not telling you about this baby situation with
Andy Martin did not know, just for clarity. That's an inside joke. People might know or might not know.
Cohen Keller? How do you
Kevin.
pronounce it? Kevin. Is it Kevin?
Kevin,
Kelleher. There's another Andy who's getting a load of stick online, which if you think that's clever, then you're an idiot, because I know Andy and he's a top person and he wouldn't do dumb shit. So anybody who wants to point a finger at, let's have it, you're an idiot. I'll say it. But what was going on? Like I'm again out of the loop in terms of like the last hour before deadline. I'm not one that's on Twitter trying to find out what's happening. Was there a potential leak on Haaland not playing?
Not that I'm aware. The first inkling I had that there was a problem was I saw one of the lads at our friends FML FPL tweeted. I don't know if it was during the Wolves Villa game. It might have even been. I think it might have even been after the Wolves Villa game. He tweeted that there'd been some Discord channel where there'd been some discussion about him not being available. I don't know what that
Right.
is, but that was the first. So I don't know what time that was on Friday, but you could go and look at when his tweet was. It was certainly well after deadline. That was the first I thought, oh, bench boost is in the bin. Um, as far as I'm aware, the a lot of the models were recommending Fernandes for captain this week, and a lot of the analytic crowd went for Bruno Fernandes captain.
Yep.
And I don't think there's a lot more to it than that, personally. And so I think, therefore, you've got, okay, Haaland's away. And I think when he's away, we think, can we take him on? And a lot of people obviously were going to go Bruno Fernandes anyway. It was just, for me, I'd said during Friday that I thought Man United and Crystal Palace would be quite low scoring. And actually, I'd had Bruno Fernandes sitting as my vice captain on Friday because it's just a sensible vice captain to have, in the sense that you know that he's always going to play without any doubt and he can go off at any time. And Nico did, we do a shorts, which has been absolutely terrible this year in terms of my backing of players, one player to Hall, one player to blank. And I did Fernandes as a player to blank this week because, and I will try and pick high profile players to blank rather than go for like, oh, he's playing Arsenal. I think he'll blank. Yeah. I'm going out there a little bit with these predictions, but I thought that game would be low scoring. And on Friday, I'm going, I think Ekiteke is a better captaincy on my top 10 on the deadline stream.
Yep.
I had Ekiteke second. I was like, well, Liverpool haven't played midweek. I haven't really got any doubt here. I'll change. I changed vice captaincy Friday afternoon. Ekiteke instead of Fernandes.
Who gave you that inside information?
No different to anybody else. No, I didn't have inside information.
Who told you that Ekitike was going to score and assist and get max bonus? Who told you that was
no different to anybody else changing their captain? Anyway, that's by the by. I was messaging with Andy yesterday. It would be fine. Yeah, so that actually was a decision also that I made going into the game week. So I made 4 free transfers, which in the end are quite laughable. I bought Kelleher for Dubravka with the intention of obviously having a better goalkeeper, not just for this week, but moving forward in future weeks. And I do. And the one good bit of news is that Martin Dubravka also scored 0. So had I not made that transfer, that would have been same returns. I bought Van Dijk for Timber last Sunday night at a period where I was sitting there with 5 free transfers, like, well, there's definitely going to be so much backing for Van Dijk, and now's the entry point. As I said to you last Monday, I didn't particularly want to get rid of Timber. As it's turned out, Van Dijk obviously scored. So did Timber. Timber scored 1 more, I believe. I think Timber was 8 points and Virgil van Dijk was 7. So that's 1 down. Once I'd made that transfer, that opened up for other moves. I bought Utara for Enzo Fernandez. Yay, I'm winning. And I bought Joachim Anderson for Omar Alderete. Yay, I'm losing. But team now with Keller, Utara and Anderson in for those other players now looks much better for forthcoming weeks, although Anderson is flagged. But Anderson ill. So even if Anderson was going to miss this week, I'm not. Yeah, it's not a major problem. I'd still be sticking with him for game week 30 and game week 31. So that bit of it is a disaster. But Van Dijk, Utara returns as said. Gabriel 9, O'Reilly 6, Rice 5, Fernandes 13, Harry Wilson 12, Thiago 6, Ekiteke 30. 99 points with a flake. 16k game week rank, as you said, up to, what was it, 6,700?
6-7, something like that.
And I will tell you,
if there's any listeners under the age of about 15, they just did
oh shit,
6,700.
Okay, I did it on purpose the second time with my hands, not the first time. I wish I meant that now. I did, truthfully, last night for the first time, I did look at what the gap was to first.
Yeah. What is it?
132 points.
Yeah. Interesting.
No, I don't think I can do it, but I'm going to have a go.
You're talking about making up 13 points every game week. Right. So question for you. Are you willing to take risks to win it, or are you more in a let me preserve my top 10k rank?
Can't answer that question yet. I think ultimately, if it's a period of okay, it's going to be too far. I need to get like when Jamie Piggott won it, he got within kind of like shot, and obviously he triple captain. I think he just captained Kevin De Bruyne when he got his 30 points, right?
Yeah.
Then you need to have something like that in the end. But I need to get within shot of that, right? To have that opportunity. If I'm 132 points behind with 4 game weeks to go, it's too much, right? So, and it's not just, I'm not chasing one person, right? It's 6,500 people still
Yeah.
ahead of me as well, right? So right now, truthfully, can't answer that because it might come down to me wanting to win the Planet FPL Correspondent Mini League, for example, which I've obviously got. That for me would be amazing to beat all the correspondents. Would be like a real highlight for me. Probably my favorite ever FPL achievement, right? So it's not as black and white. But if I get to 4 weeks to go and it's like there's a chance to do something like Jamie Piggott did, then I'll probably go for it. But I can't say that now, mate. I'd need to keep having a few more weeks like this, wouldn't I? The 99-point week on top of the 101 week a few weeks ago has obviously shot me up something quite dramatically. So it's going all right.
Good.
And you do,
and
of course, you do think, well, what if the bench boost had done well? Like, where would I be as well, right? So,
of course,
and just on that as well, when I say you can't know yet, and you're judging it now, listen, if the template team in wildcard 32 then means that many people on their bench boost in game week 33 are scoring 25, 30 points on their bench boost, clearly it's a loss. But there are other factors around, like I just used today with the Nico O'Reilly example over the last few weeks that led me down this path. If I hadn't had the O'Reilly points, I'd still have the bench boost as well. I'd rather have no O'Reilly points in the bank.
Let's just before we talk about a couple of quick transfer bits. I mentioned and I talked about how the situation with West Ham is dire, and our situation is worse than Tottenham's situation right now, in my opinion. It might not feel it for you, and definitely from the momentum and play and what you're seeing on the pitch, I can understand why you're particularly frustrated with what's going on at Spurs. Is FPL a good escape for you right now? Because for me, it's a distraction. For me, it's a distraction, not an escape. But I suppose because I'm not doing well, I don't care. I've got no FPL goals this season anymore.
Listen, celebrate joys in life, right? It's like celebration police were out for Wolves on Friday night. Okay, Rob Edwards might have gone a little bit over the top, but if Wolves want to celebrate the fact they won a game of football, let them celebrate a game of football. They deserve to win a game of football.
They've overtaken Derby's total as well. Let's not forget.
Yeah, exactly. So they did call it an achievement, if you will. Yes, okay. I'm sure that would have been on their mind for a bit and they don't have to worry about that. But yeah, there's too much shit in the world not to enjoy things that are good for you. I go home last night. Mrs. says, "Are you right?" She knows I'm not. And I'm like, well, I've got you, babe, and I've got the boy. There's good in the world. You know, what's the worst thing that'll happen to Tottenham? We'll get relegated. But
I'm really happy that you included her in that, James. You didn't just say, yeah, Harry's here, so I'm all right. You included her in it as well. I'm proud of you.
What I say to her and what I mean might be two different things, but yeah. What's keeping me up at night? Is it FPL or Tottenham? No, I'm up all night last night thinking about how in the hell am I going to fix this midfield that can't pass the ball to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. You use it as escapism. For me, I find my escapism not in football now, not in FPL.
The problem with
but you're
Tottenham
right,
is that Tottenham, for me, for most of my life, has been an escape from other things. That's meant to be my release and my joy, etc. And now right now it's the worst thing in my life. So
yeah, I get it.
By the way, I'm fortuitous. There are people with worse problems than that.
No, don't get me wrong. I went for a walk yesterday morning with the family before the football kicked off and stuff. And God bless, I'm in Portugal. We had 20 degrees, and I was walking by the beach and listening to the sea. So in the grand scheme of life, of course, come on, what does it matter? But yeah, good. I'm glad that you're able to use it. And I think people need to understand and how we use football and FPL as a positive escape. And if it's not, don't lose sleep over it. Because I'm not losing any sleep over my FPL team and my rank right now. Who cares?
When I found out that Kelleher was benched, what that nervous reaction that I've literally just done was exactly my reaction at the time. I was like, excuse me, like what? And obviously I'm walking through the park to Craven Cottage yesterday, seen the Tottenham team. I'm like, oh my God, it's all over the place. I didn't even look at the Fulham team. And I saw someone had put on our Slack, oh, no Jockey Anderson. I'm like, are you serious?
I actually opened SofaScore to look at the Tottenham team but got distracted by Joachim Andersen not being there. And I was like, let me just go and remind myself. I'm sure James bought him as well. I was ready to tweet. I was like, well, we know for sure Declan Rice not playing later on today because that's James's entire bench boost completely wiped out to zero. Yeah,
Malik
madness.
Chow, 1 point hero.
Legend. Listen, he's been a 17-point hero earlier in the season, so we'll let him off. Indeed, good. Alrighty, cool. Let's talk about the games. We're going to rattle through the games as quick as we can because we do know that it's a quick turnaround before game week 29, which is tomorrow. There's a whole bunch of usual content. There'll be deadline stream tomorrow.
Yeah, do you want me to do
because you play Thursday, don't you?
Yeah, which means I have to sit and watch you and Forest first.
Lose, which at least is better than nothing. Go on. What's the content for this week? Because, midweek set of fixtures, we're going to be back doing this in a little bit more of a relaxed pace on Thursday, but today we'll rattle through the games shortly.
Clash of Correspondence. Tomorrow we'll get that out early for you. Newcastle versus Manchester United with Simon Bibby and Alex Trembath. I think both actually quite. I mean, with these flag players, there's so many options open up back up to the game if these are genuine problems, and that includes, for me, Benjamin Sesko might suddenly become my solution tomorrow if Haaland was out for a while, for example. He'll be in the running with a lot of others. Wednesday, Ask James. That's scheduled for 1 p.m. UK time. Thursday is Game Review podcast again, fortunately before Tottenham, but then me and David will probably do half a podcast on Tottenham on Friday on the weekend. Just to shout out as well, next week I'm going to Madrid to watch Tottenham in a relaxed environment where we can get beat and it probably doesn't matter, but I'll get to see Madrid for a couple of days. Ask James, I'm planning to do on Sunday night as a bit of a one-off because the schedule is going to look a bit whack next week, but there will still be a full content schedule next week. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Plenty going on there as well. Podcast this week, Q&A today, differential show tomorrow, previewing game week 29. Tottenham Wednesday, got a quiz. Jack Blackbird's hosting for myself on Thursday. Money in Football on Friday. Plenty more advanced tier as well. Short little away days from Fulham. It was short because I didn't want to film too much of that fucking shit yesterday. We've got Nico's Corner, Team News stream tomorrow, talking tactics. There's something else as well. There's lots happening. You can check out, not advanced here.
That was intermediate. Sorry.
You can check out the full schedule. It's in the description of the podcast. Good. Just on flags before we do the games, Serge.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I've got Haaland, Rice, yellow, and Freddie Potts suspended, and Maxence Lacroix suspended. Potts was going to have to go for me anyway. Like, I'm working towards 31, so Lacroix makes it easy. His was it's only going to be a one-match suspension, isn't it? It wasn't dangerous play. It was professional foul, wasn't it?
It'd be one match, yeah.
Yeah, one match.
One match, yeah. So he'll play game 30 against Leeds.
Yeah, but then I might as well just move it on and find a solution that gives me something for game week 31, and then Haaland and Rice. So I do think I'm going to go rogue for the last 10 game weeks just because what else am I going to do? Follow the template. It's a bit boring. But I haven't spent enough time thinking about what are the funky, fun, different chip strategies that I could go down. I've still got bench boost, I've still got wild card, I've still got free hit. So let's see.
There would have been a number of people playing the bench boost this week. That's probably off the table. I think it was always going to be a risk midweek anyway. But now, I mean, Pep is probably going to say tomorrow, we'll say, well, it's probably what he's going to say. What are you going to do under that circumstance? So take it from someone who's had a load of players turn up who didn't expect to. If I knew, as I said to you Friday morning, if I knew I had one player, it was like, if anything goes wrong with this team news, I'm going to pull the plug on this. It was nothing to make me think those three players wouldn't appear. But there were so many flags knocking about. I've got 5. I presume it's 5. Keller has not been flagged. I presume she's not having twins, bless her. Congratulations to the Kellers. So I assume he plays this week. That wouldn't matter too much because I got for Bruggen, checks fixtures, Arsenal. Oh shit, that's part why I bought Keller. I've got 5 flags. Anderson ill. So I know that's not a big problem, even if he didn't play this midweek. So that wouldn't get dealt with. Nico O'Reilly, I saw 100% roll his ankle, try to continue, and couldn't on Saturday night. That I think is going to be a problem is my instinct. I don't have any insight on that. I'm not a doctor or physio or whatever, but I think that's probably going to be a problem. Remember as well the importance of City's fixtures coming up. You're going to the Bernabeu next week. You're going to
Yeah.
Newcastle on Saturday in the FA Cup. Forest at home. He might have been liable for a rotation
What?
anyway.
Why are you completely disregarding the difficult fixture they got this weekend coming up as well, James?
Who? That's the weekend after.
Is it the weekend after the Burnabeu?
Yeah, it's FA Cup this weekend. You've got Brentford. You are still in it, unbelievably. Monday night.
Okay, why are you forgetting the game in between the two Real Madrid games that they got that's so difficult, James? Yeah, no,
I'm not.
they're going to
Just
treat West Ham and Nottingham Forest like training games, mate. We're going to get the B team.
Hold up.
They still
hold
beat
up,
us.
Hold up. Stop. I didn't even mention West Ham about treating West Ham lightly, although I would suggest City probably will rotate against West Ham in game week 30, by the way, because they've got Madrid Wednesday and Tuesday afterwards. City, Chelsea and Arsenal, by the way, have the Wednesday, Tuesday schedule either side of game week 30. I don't think that'll be as much of a problem for Arsenal, but it might be for Chelsea and Manchester
And
City.
then, as you said, Carabao Cup after as well. So I think psychologically,
Cup final afterwards as well.
Yeah, that psychologically, obviously, that being against Arsenal, and then they're playing each other in the league a few weeks later. Like there will be some needle or value in that game. Just from you want to have the upper hand against your opponents in the race, don't you? So, yeah, I think they should just forfeit the game against West Ham rather than even play it. But that's my personal opinion. Let's talk about the games from this week.
In fairness to City, unbelievably, they try and forfeit games against my team every season. It's just as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. So these flags, we'll come up with some alternatives as we go through. But yeah,
Declan Rice asked to come off yesterday.
Yeah.
Now, if he's asking to come off in a fixture like Chelsea, that makes me think, I'm not sure. Again, could they go, right, Brighton away? Okay, I'm sure the intention, obviously, with Declan Rice, you go, right, he wasn't going to play at Mansfield on Saturday, presumably. So the intention would be to play on Brighton. Now, if a Declan Rice is ruled out, it's the same as O'Reilly. If you're looking at potential effective blank game blank, which is what it would be, these guys are for the bin, basically. But I'm not desperate to bin Declan Rice. I think he's going to play this week. Not at all. I also definitely don't want to bin Harry Wilson, who's flagged. Marco Silva said he reported the injury at half time.
Right.
Then stayed on to around about the 70th minute mark. I was in the ground. He sat down, couldn't continue. Seemed to walk off relatively fine as far as I could tell from my distance. I do think there's an element that Matisse Tell had come on for Tottenham and started running that touchline, and I'm not sure that he wanted to go back. It's also possible that he went, these are so shit, I can carry on for another half hour. And then when Tell went out there, he thought, well, I'm not going to be able to track back in the same way. Take me off. So, but I don't want to bin Harry Wilson with the 30-31 fixtures. So the Fulham players are not going anywhere. Haaland, we don't know where we're at. Pep said it's not a major issue. He seemed to insinuate that he might have a problem with his knob in his press conference after the game on Saturday night, because he was asked if it was a knee problem, and I've watched this, and he said no, and then he was like, what is it? And he went and like raised his eyebrows. So I don't know. Maybe it's a groin problem. I have no idea what that is whatsoever. But he did say it was minor. But if Haaland isn't going to play this week, the truth is he should be sold. Again, it's like West Ham away 30, in between the two Madrid games. So he wouldn't be a certain start anyway, then probable blank. But the big problem with that is, if City lose at Newcastle Saturday, I think that fixture goes back into 31. So then what? Am I switching him back in again? So I think that's an important thing to factor in for Manchester City players specifically. Could also be Crystal Palace, Munoz, Lacroix, etc. Remember, there is a chance that City Palace will go back into 31 on FA Cup quarter-final weekend if City lose to Newcastle at the weekend. And that's bugging me. So I essentially would like to do absolutely nothing right now. But with 5 flags, I don't know if that can be the case. I've got 2 free transfers. Do I know what I'm doing right now? Not a clue. I'm probably going to have to be reactive tomorrow. Pep, Arteta, Marco Silva's press conferences will all be on Tuesday. You should get a press conference from every manager prior to deadline. except for Igor Tudor, because you care about that. And Oliver Glasner you don't need, because you know the Palace team now anyway. Any Palace asset you've got, bar Lacroix, will start. No one's got Johnsons and Gassans and stuff like that, right? So wherever you've got will start. You know that. Palace don't have a game at the weekend as well. So there's plenty of information to learn. There are 11 press conferences in total today on Monday, but most of the useful ones appear to be tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a shame using Lacroix for his almost guaranteed clean sheet on Thursday. Boom, boom. Right, let's get into the games from the weekend. Wolves 2.
Did you see how hard I laughed?
It's sad because it's true. Wolves 2, Aston Villa 0. I've got a secret love for Wolves now. Now that we know that they're not actually a threat to catching us, probably. I don't.
Have you seen their remaining fixtures? They might.
I don't want them to do. I'm glad they beat that Derby record, and I want them to have a little bit of joy this season. We've got quite a few Wolves patrons and stuff, so I'm glad they got away from it. And fair play, right? At the end of the day, deserved or not, in terms of it felt like a fairly even game on the stats. Villa obviously dominated possession, but fair play. They've been making a real good go of it last couple of months.
I predicted a draw. I fancied them to get something anyway. Villa just not been right. Wolves deserved to win. Showed much more desire towards the game. In relentless rain, it must be said. I was going to say it made for an interesting watch. It didn't, because the first half was drab as hell. But it added to the context of the game, I think, that it was battering it down with rain. Wolves deserved to win. They were good. They're nowhere. I was going to say they're nowhere near the worst team in the league. That's not true. They're nowhere near some of the worst other teams in previous seasons that they've been compared to, the Southamptons and Derbys and stuff like that. They're better than that. If my team was playing them this way, I'd be worried. I would be worried whoever we were playing. But yeah, good. They've been on a decent run for a little while. It's only the second win of the season, the other one being against yourselves, Suj. There'll be a third probably in game week 34, I should imagine. You might want to note that for those who may be free hitting in that game week. But yeah, look, it's decent. Date back to when they lost at Liverpool. They've lost 4 of 11.
Yep.
It's not terrible. 2 wins, 5 draws, and 4 defeats. That's the record over the last 11. Now, that's 11 points.
I was going to say that's a point a game.
If they'd have run like that all season,
they'd have been all right. Well,
they'd be in and around with us, wouldn't they?
In and around it, yeah.
And reality is, quality level, that's roughly where they're at. You're not obviously going to go and chase after Wolves assets. It's Liverpool and Brentford away, and then blank. But they have the best run of fixtures between game week 32 and game week 38. And you know what? They might just relax. And Wolves' defensive ones, or Mane's, might not be terrible players to have knocking about your team from the 32 onward period. They are obviously unlikely to double in 33, but you might want to look at them on a potential free hit in 34. Villa.
Couple of tough games coming up in Chelsea and Man United, but then post 31, their run's pretty attractive.
Yeah, but their fixtures aren't really relative at the moment, in the sense that, like, you're going M31. I said this to you last week. I can visualise West Ham going to Villa and winning in game week 31.
Yeah, well, Forest away, City ground might be a difficult one.
I know people want to, it's a return to mean on the XG and all that. Yeah, there's an element of that. The bigger element at the moment is they don't have a midfield. Kamara and Tielemans are massive misses. Massive misses. Ross Barkley came on, and the first thing he did in the game was watch João Gomez walk in front of him and score the opening goal of the game. They're not in a good place at the moment. You can tell as well, if you go and search online about the mood amongst Aston Villa fans, you would not think that they're fourth in the league. They're really not happy with what they're seeing at the moment from players. There's even some criticism of Emery, not to the extent of like change your manager or anything like that, but some of his decisions are being questioned. They've won 3 games since they won at Chelsea, which was, I don't know what that week that was. It was quite some time ago, Suj. So there's 3 wins
Chelsea...
to 10. Ollie Watkins scored twice.
Ages ago, 18. Game
yeah,
18.
they've won 3 games since. 3 games in 10 or is it 11?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now they're looking over their shoulders. Now, United and Liverpool begin to capitalise on their slip ups. Chelsea, not quite yet, but they play each other this week. And I think at this moment now, I didn't think Villa would slip like this personally. I thought they had too much of an advantage. If Chelsea go down and win midweek, they'll fancy their chances very much of catching Villa, and Villa will be fearing that they're going to get caught. You are right. Those fixtures 31 to 36 particularly are very good. But if they lose to Chelsea and then they go to Old Trafford, yeah, it could be a problem for
Yep.
Villa because then it's the experience to get over the line, right? Remember a couple of years ago they were well clear of my team, and we kind of both crawled over the line. They didn't exactly do it in inspirational fashion to get over the line. That's 2 seasons ago. So they're now very much looking over their shoulders and looked like the most likely to maybe drop out of the top five. For FPL, there's a conversation for them again, I think, around about game week 31, potentially. The conversation, I think, for many people might have been this week about binning Morgan Rogers. So a few weeks ago, Everton at home, they lost. And I said to you on the pod afterwards that it was like, there was elements that reminded me of Tottenham in Bale's last season, the first time around, where it's like, give it to Bale and he'll fix the problem. And like they were looking for Rodgers so much. And you can see him even later in the game taking like more shots from distance and stuff. I know he scored a number of goals from outside the box and stuff, but he wasn't giving off a vibe of something that would be great over forthcoming weeks for FPL. And I don't know necessarily, for those who don't know, if they don't own, if they'll go and run to him in game week 31. For those of us who own, personally, I wasn't going to pin because I do have a good asset there for 31. And the other thing is, at the moment, it's like everyone's got loads of flags. You don't have to worry about him. And in games like Chelsea and Manchester United, he might find space a little bit more to his liking, right? He scored twice at home to Manchester United earlier this season. I realised that was Ruben Amorim, Manchester United. So he's going to sit there, but with very little confidence at the moment. I think owners will be not expecting anything at this moment. So I don't think people will be looking at Morgan Rogers, say Rice is out. I don't think Rice owners who don't own Rogers go to Rogers. I think they go somewhere else.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going to Morgan Rogers, but also wouldn't be selling him right now. I think
no one's selling anyone that doesn't have a flag, surely.
Exactly. I was going to say, like, if you have a team where you
unless
have
it's
no
to
other
fund a
problems
second
to fix,
move.
yeah, if you have a team with no other problems to fix, good luck to you, and yes, crack on. But
yeah,
I very much doubt that there is anybody in that boat right now. Let's talk about Bournemouth 1, Sunderland 1. Mike James Hill, clean sheet wipeout. The only good thing about that is it came early in the first 20 minutes, so I didn't then have to worry about it for the rest of the game. He didn't get anywhere near DEFCON either. Bournemouth dominated the game from a possession point of view, though. XG and chances-wise, fairly even, though 21 shots in the game, they're going to come away thinking they should have probably won.
Who, Bournemouth?
Mm.
I mean, I only watched the first half of this and I took the little lad swimming. I thought Sunderland were outstanding the way they started the game, actually. I can't comment so much on the second half. I mean, yeah, okay, Bournemouth it probably is a game of two halves a little bit. What a cross from Tavernier for Evan Nilsson's goal, by the way. But yeah, I was really impressed with Sunderland because they had a little bit of a downturn of results recently. I said last week, I thought Granit Xhaka might have a lot to do with this. Not surprised that he's back in the team and everything looked much better. Despite them missing some other key players, right? Their intent at the start of that game, Bournemouth normally swarm all over you. It was the other way around. Sunderland swarmed all over them, wouldn't let them breathe. They set up really well. They played like a team that had a point to prove. I was quite impressed with them, actually. I think that was just an important psychological performance for them. Their run of fixtures, by the way, if people do end up at dead end into game week 32, I've got them fourth on my ticker across the next four, but it doesn't feel like an inspiring set of fixtures. It feels like a load of games that could go either way. Leeds away, Brighton at home, Newcastle away, and then one in 32 that might not go either way. I'm hoping they're long safe by that point. I'm sure they will be. No real concerns about them. So Mienda was quite lively up front. It was probably a little bit of a surprise he got the nod over Isidore. He ends up scoring the goal. I think because of the injury issues at the moment, you're not looking at Sunderland at this moment, unless you were looking for enablers. As someone like me who just come off Alderete, because I didn't really want to look at Newcastle away in 31, I'm not running back towards that sort of thing. Because actually, although he's got a DEFCON at the weekend, that's the first time he's picked up in bloody ages. So Mukiele or Reynildo would have been better choices. They're both injured at this moment.
Yep.
So Bournemouth retain interest. Krupi owners might have some good news, because I think when owners probably saw that Evan Nilsson wasn't in the team at the weekend, probably thought, Tavernier's back. I can see this being one for Krupi, one for Evan Nilsson now. Now, Evan Nilsson came on, scored the goal, arrives well, although it's a little bit fortuitous. It comes off his shoulder, basically. He picked up a dead leg and had to go off again. So he came on and then went back off. So look, quick turnaround. Dead legs are really difficult ones to gauge. We've seen a couple of examples recently where players have had a dead leg and they're back in like 3-4 days, and others where they've been like 3-4 weeks. I mean, Colin Moani for us missed about 6 weeks with a dead leg. Wow. So we don't think that it's a long-term problem for Evan Nilsson, but we don't know. But it does mean there's every chance Krupi gets a start against Brentford again. Obviously, quick turnaround game. The game's tomorrow night, right? Tavernier, I know a few people have been holding on to him, or a few people have gone back. I'd say minutes a little bit of a risk tomorrow night, but I think it's probably more likely that he starts again, and probably early sub would be my take at the moment. But it can't come as a huge surprise if he's a sub. Marcus Senesi, as a reminder, by the way, 2 yellow cards away from a suspension. James Hill didn't hit DEFCON. The alternative I'd been considering, so as I said to you Friday, to Kelleher and Anderson, and I said it wasn't close in my final decision, was Hill and Leno. So obviously, if they played, I would have got 2 more players, right? I only would have got 4 more points.
Yeah, it just would have set you up better moving forward.
Not necessarily.
Agreed.
Not necessarily.
Well, the fact that they would be available, though we don't know
if
Kelleher and Anderson.
If I was to jump up to say Rice to Semenyo this week, I'd have to buy a defender at 4.3 or under, and I don't want to buy Hill because I've got 2 offensive Brentford players.
Right.
I'd rather just stay towards an all-in strategy where I can from that perspective. Yes, game week 30 away to Burnley he would definitely play for me, no doubt, and he could be useful this week. I might take that route as an insurance, i.e. I might end up buying him and he might sit as first sub for me, and then I play him game week 30 as a possibility. But I've been looking for someone that would help me, obviously, on my strategy now for game week 32, and they go to Arsenal, so that's not great either. I'd end up playing Chow at Palace, and it doesn't feel great. Both these sides, fine. Expect maybe a little bit of rotation going into this week. Sunderland Leeds tomorrow night as well. Sunderland probably can't rotate too much, though, with the injuries they've got.
Okay, Burnley 3, Brentford 4. Obviously, the drama of the late Ashley Barnes disallowed goal for handball. Frustrating. But I mean, Brentford could have won it, then got clawed back, then come back again. But Burnley trying to put up a fight here. I didn't have this down as a 4-3 or even a 4-4. I don't think anybody did today.
I think credit to them as well, because you can hear when Sade scores, you can hear it just on Match of the Day, the bits I watched, the huge booing and very clear, we want Parker out and you're getting sacked in the morning. So for them to recover to the extent that they fought at one point in the game and they'd gone 4-3 up, they deserve incredible credit for sticking at it. And yeah, they're showing some fight. They drew at Chelsea last week. They won at Palace the game before that, right? They're not getting walked all over. Though I suspect because of the poisonous nature at the moment, there will be games. There might be another game this season where they go 2-3-0 down at home and it gets worse. In this game, fair game to them. They've recovered. They shifted the team about a little bit. James Ward-Prowse coming to the team. Cole Walker and Marcus Edwards were only substitutes. I feel for them with the disallowed goals more in the nature of the time rather than actually the decisions. For me, the Ashley Barnes one needed one look. It hit his arm. as far as I'm concerned. Now, I get it. You have to be 100% sure to disallow that goal. It looked very clear to me that it hits his arm. If there is also the case to say that if it's taking you 5 minutes to come to that conclusion, near enough, I think it's 4.5, then just let the goal stand. I get it. It's the law that's an arse. Obviously, it just hits his arm. It doesn't do it intentionally. He's trying to get his arm out of the way. The Jaden Anthony one, me and David's going to do a bit of a piece on the weekender about change to rules to expect for the World Cup in the summer, because there's a number of rule change got passed off at the weekend. And there's going to be some trials in Canada about this Wenger offside law. You know, if part of your body is onside, which is a nonsense, and we don't want that. Do you know what would make things a lot better for everybody? Is if we just judged on feet. This is half his shoulders offside.
Yeah.
Bollocks, isn't it? It just feels so wrong. But by law, I think both decisions, unfortunately, are correct.
It's Brentford, the inconsistency of it sometimes as well.
I suppose for Brentford to get 4 and Thiago just a goal, Sade just a goal, Utara just an assist, Vandenberg, I think, got DEFCON, Kelleher no show, Collins still not in the team. I suppose most people are actually probably quite disappointed with what they've ended up with Brentford assets at the weekend. A few people beyond Vitaly Janelt as well was another no show at the weekend. There won't be many, but it might be a handful of people who are. Concerning that they let Burnley back into this game, because at 3-0 up, you're thinking, well, might be on to 5 or 6 here. I've invested well into these guys. But yeah, full credit to them for actually coming back and obviously still managing to get over the line. Couple of goals for Mikkel Damsgaard. Wouldn't chase that, because I think ultimately, although Matthias Jensen played a deeper role, he probably does have favouritism over Damsgaard in the 10 position. I know Tom Med, our Brentford correspondent, he certainly didn't anyway, might have changed his mind. When I last spoke to him, he wasn't happy about Damsgaard having limited minutes. But don't chase after that as your solution, because if Janelt's back fit, that might change. They've got multiple other players, Henderson, Yarmouk, can all play in midfield that allows Jensen to play a little bit higher up. Obviously, Sade in the team, we couldn't be certain that he was, and a number of people gambled on that. Well done. I would expect that to Utara, Sade, Thiago, trifecta, if you will, would stay together now, and this should start again tomorrow night. I wouldn't say Otara for me wouldn't be a certain starter. If I have everyone
in the Brentford team,
no,
or
just,
your FPL team,
just tomorrow night, away to Bournemouth, like it could be like his turn kind of gig. But they don't play in the FA Cup till Monday, and they have been rotating quite a bit in the FA Cup. So I think in Thiago, certainly it'll be right. Just play. You might have Monday off against West Ham, but might not, because their position in the league really means they should go for it really in the FA Cup. If I had everybody available, I'd probably bench Utara this week, just with that small doubt. But
they don't
he hasn't got a flag.
At the moment, as it stands, they don't appeal to me. The midfielders from Brentford, all right.
Yeah. Would you go Utara or Sade at this moment?
Utara just saved the money.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's substantial enough to go Sade over him, really. But also, you got a factor, Serge, that let's say Pep says tomorrow Haaland's out for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No player. You might as well remove every player's value in the game. It's irrelevant. I might be spending 14 million on a player that hasn't scored since game week 10. Prices will be irrelevant for a lot of people.
Unless you
short-term decisions as well, right?
Unless you go and get Mo Salah, in which case you're going to tie up quite a bit of funds in that.
That's the player, obviously, I was potentially alluding to. So, yeah, I think if it's money, no object, it's close. And I'd maybe just about prefer Sade under that, personally.
All right, let's segue into Liverpool 5, West Ham United 2, and obviously Mo Salah with. Did he get an assist? I don't think he got anything in this game.
No,
did he
was involved in all 5 celebrations, I think.
Yeah, I'd put it this way: from the game that I watched, I didn't see anything from Mo Salah that would make me want to buy him, regardless of how much money I had. If he was the same price as Florian Wirtz, who isn't available, but if he was, I'd still go and probably get Wirtz over Salah from what I saw. I've seen really mixed responses to this from West Ham fans, like frustrated and really annoyed at the regression and conceding 5 goals and the defensive issues from corners, and it's a disaster. It wasn't that bad. It really wasn't like a 5-2 defeat. Deflections on the goals, the Van Dijk header obviously was Joe Gomez in an offside position, shouldn't have been allowed. That's sarcasm there, by the way. I think it wasn't enough to justify giving it.
It was,
but it was not a 5-2 game. Like I came away from when it was 4-2, and I thought, you know what, coming away from this 4-2, having been 3-0 down at half time, there's a lot of positive to take. I think I go into the Fulham game not as negative as you would potentially be after losing a game 5-2. I still think there's enough from that performance that I saw that we're going to give Fulham a game on Wednesday. There's nothing from an FPL point of view that I would want to go at. But Liverpool, they scored 5 goals that were gifted or like mistakes or not, or sloppy goals to give them. Also, every time we put pressure on their back line, they gave us an opportunity. Most of the opportunities that West Ham had, and we did out XG them, was because when you put pressure on them at the back, they make mistakes. Like Kanate, Alisson kicking it onto Jared Bowen, him not being able to finish it off and whatever else. When you put pressure on that Liverpool backline, if they'd come across a better team than West Ham, or we'd even taken chances enough that the game hadn't gone to a 3-goal difference between the two teams, it would have been a very different second half. I think they were probably grateful that they had such a nice cushion throughout the game, because if it was only 1 goal, I think psychologically the whole game would have been very different. Ekitike, obviously great finishes and good goals. And he is, if Haaland was out long term and you don't own Ekitike, I think he's definitely the standout go-to option at the moment.
Ekitike, Thiago would be the 2 go-tos.
Yeah.
And Ekitike would be priority 1 for me. Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, we did this game for Clash of Correspondence last week and was talking to Dan Lord and saying, like, since I'd bought him, he'd actually only returned in 1 game out of about 10.
Wow.
Obviously, that was 2 goals against Newcastle. And he'd missed a couple because of injury as well. But I said to Dan, even though he's only returned for me in 1 game, I've never felt uncomfortable with him. Ever. Just almost been feeling like waiting for him to go off, basically. And actually, he's a little lucky here. Even I can recognise that, because it takes a deflection on the first goal, which he might be going for the other corner. Wrong foot's Hermanson. Lovely layoff for the first assist for McAllister. His timing and his reaction to that's really good. And obviously he gives a pass to Gakpo, and Gakpo cuts in, which he always does, takes a shot and it deflects in, right? So in Ekiteke's returns, there's a little bit of a fortuitous nature. But then if you look at his underlying data going back over a number of weeks, that's why I've never been unhappy with him. Like, it's coming. That's very much how I felt. And obviously he'll be a captaincy contender for me this week. I haven't decided what to do with that yet. Because ultimately, if Haaland's available, Haaland's best captain. It does make me think, but if he's not, best captaincy this week is probably Semenyo.
Right.
And I don't own it. But then it's like, if you don't own it, do you go and chase that, knowing that he might only play one of the next 3 games because of the game week 30 and 31 issues? But then if you think he's the best captaincy, do you just stick him in? And I wouldn't, if I took Haaland out for another forward and put Semenyo in, I mean, the same City. If I put Semenyo in for Rice,
same number of blankers.
If I put Semenyo in for Rice and took Haaland out as part of it, actually I'd be 1 better off on the path of 31. Then I'm maybe just benching Semenyo in game week 31. That's a potential thought for me. As is buying Salah, because I'm not sure I can avoid it. If Pep says Haaland is out, I'm not sure I can avoid it. There is absolutely no way in my mind that Mo Salah is worth 14 million. No way. But under a period where the price bracket of any player is almost irrelevant, and I'm looking around, remember for me it'd be a 4-week period as well, so I'm potentially looking at Fulham at home in game week 32 as well for Liverpool. Looking at it and going, it's blindingly obvious Wolves away, and more importantly, Tottenham at home game week 30. Like, I've got Ekitike and Van Dijk. It was leaving open the 3rd spot for potentially Wirtz or Mo under this sort of circumstance. I mentioned last week about I might end up going back for Mo in game week 30 if I don't think Haaland starts at West Ham. Obviously, if I don't think Haaland's going to start tomorrow night, and once I flip that money, for me, I've got Ekitike Thiago in place. So I'll start looking at forwards.
What do you see in Mo that you want him over Gakpo?
Nothing.
Or...
Nothing.
Okay, good. It's just the vibes pick.
Nothing. No, I probably wouldn't even captain him. I'd probably captain, like against Tottenham, I'd probably captain Ekitike over him.
Like, so why do you want to get him? Why not get Gakpo?
Why get Gakpo over Salah? Salah's got pens and stuff. I'm not buying Gakpo over Salah, mate.
I wonder what the points, FPL points this season so far are between the two of them. I have no idea, to be honest.
Salah disappeared for a few months and stuff. I'm not singing like, oh, everyone should go and get Mo Salah. I'm not saying that at all. But the reality for me is, Serge, if I've got Haaland and Rice injured, I don't know how I avoid it.
Because you need to pick players that you think are going to score points, not just players that you can afford.
I get that, but
you don't think he's going to score any points.
I'll be very truthful with you, right? This is how I feel about Mo Salah. If Harry Wilson, if Marco Silva says tomorrow, Harry Wilson is fit for Fulham and he's going to play against West Ham, if someone said to me, buy Wilson or buy Salah for 3 weeks, I will tell them buy Harry Wilson. I mean that genuinely. But I've got Harry Wilson. I've got Utara. I can't add another Bournemouth player. I didn't see anything on Saturday, truthfully, that made me want to chase after Rayan at this moment. I don't want to do a lot with it. I've even got Mr. Indestructible, Morgan Rogers. So when I look around at best fixtures over the next 4 weeks, I'm looking at Liverpool, Fulham, Brentford, Sunderland, Burnley, Leeds, Villa. These are my choices of teams, really. Or I take a punt on something like Anthony Gordon, who hasn't scored a home goal in the Premier League that wasn't a penalty for about 14 months, right? And ultimately, I look at Mo against Tottenham in game week 30 and I don't know how he doesn't return.
I can understand that, but that's I would say there's also very much Tottenham bias in there.
Agreed.
Because he didn't return in 5 goals against us.
Agreed. He was involved in the celebrations, as I said. For me, if I had Haaland and Rice injured, and it might not even need to be Haaland and Rice injured, but if Haaland's out, I go Salah in place of Rice. And for me, I can buy every forward left in the game except Victor Gyökeres. My choice, Suj, would probably be, you're going to poo-poo this as well, there's every chance it'd be Jared Bowen.
He's not playing well either. And while we wrap up with the Liverpool West Ham game, he could have scored. He had a couple of opportunities in and around it where I think a sharp Jared Bowen would have put the ball away, but there's just something not right. But I also think some people are like, he needs to be dropped or rested or whatever. You got to flog this guy until he plays himself back into form and gets a goal, or one goes in off his arse or something like that. I think he's going to keep playing. But yeah, he's not in great shakes right now. The reason I'm not selling Jared Bowen right now is because he plays in 31 and I've got other flags to deal with.
How many points you got over the last 4 weeks?
Over the last 4, let's see.
Yeah, that's it. Just over the last 4. Because if
I
invested
7, 4, 5, 2. So 9, 16, 18. Yeah.
18 points over the last 4.
4.5 a game, yeah.
Yeah, with only 2 assists.
Off 2 assists. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's at DEFCON the last 2 as well. He's on pens now.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're clear on that at that moment. He scored against Sunderland, was it? He scored a penalty. So we think he's on pens. He's actually picking up DEFCONs on a semi-regular. If over a 4-week period now, you'd probably expect him to hit it once. If I invested him and he got 18 points for me over the next 4 weeks, I'd probably be all right with that, you know?
Yeah. I can't hate on it.
I don't know what other forward, as I've already got Thiago and Ekitike, that would be better for me. Sesko is a consideration, as I said. João Pedro. Fixtures ain't great for João Pedro. No better than they are for Bowen. And at least for me, I'll probably end with Bowen at home to Wolves in 32. Whereas I realise for others, probably going to be dead end in 31. That will make my team more competitive in 32 versus other wildcarders setting the bench boosts and stuff as well, right? So Bowen's right under radar for me. Somerville is... Yeah, you wouldn't buy that over others at the moment, but I tell you what, you're going to field some bids for him in the summer, mate.
If we go down. Even if we don't, to be honest with you.
Yeah, No, either way, them bids are coming. He's beginning to look like a really good footballer to me.
He also didn't return again, and he's been through periods where end product is a bit of a problem. He went for a streak where he added end product. Now he's on a little bit of a streak where there isn't an end product. And I know it's only a few games, so let's not jump on his back yet, but let's see where it ends up.
I am frightened when he gets the ball.
Yeah. I can see how teams are at the moment for sure. Let's talk about Newcastle 2, Everton 3, a game where, Newcastle would have thought a couple of times that they've managed to get themselves back in it, only to straight away go up the other end and be trailing again. Psychologically, that must be a right pain in the arse. Everton, I didn't even look at where they're up to in the table. 8th, not bad. Could potentially get in with a shout for Conference League if it goes down as far as 7th and 8th, which it will, right?
Yeah, Everton now 1.14 points per game at home, 16 points from 14 home games. Away from home, 24 points from 14 away games. Only Arsenal have picked up more points in away games than Everton now this season. And I think Match of Day had the graphic up on Saturday night that in away games since David Moyes rejoined the club, so going back to sort of like January last year, again, I think it's only Arsenal, I think, have picked up more away points over that period. So that's a whole year's worth now that says Everton away from home, really decent. Full credit to them. Do you think Jordan Pickford should have caught Tonali's volley?
I didn't see it, if I'm honest with you, so I can't comment.
Boss, you've not seen it?
No.
That's going to be weird context for you if you haven't seen it. Tonali hits this volley. It's near enough the hardest shot you've ever seen in your life, mate.
To hit, or like in terms of how hard he hit it? Or
yeah, the ball's dropped him on the volley. This is right near towards the end of the game, and he has hit this volley so flush. It just absolutely flies. And it is quite close to Jordan Pickford, but he does remarkably well to react and get a decent hand on it and tip it over. Oh, he's so ferocious. So, yeah, me saying to you, I should have caught it. You're like, oh, did he drop across? That's not quite it.
Looking.
Are you watching it now, are you?
Yeah. I've flagged it up. Yeah, no. I think we'll just say saving it's good enough. Considering how short he is. Considering how short he is.
I forgot to say this to David on the weekender, but it was an absolutely bizarre moment in the Everton Manchester United game last Monday when Tarkowski ended up like blocking a shot on the line. Pickford had half saved it and Tarkowski blocked it off the line. And the ball broke, and it was to United, and it was still on the side of the penalty area. And Pickford turned around and was fist pumping to the crowd, and United still had the ball in the Everton penalty area. He's a great goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford. Fair going to him with some save. Brilliant for Everton. Another bum note, literally from Tierno Barry for Newcastle. Though, who do you think your captain this week? By the way, if Haaland's out.
As it stands, let me have a look at who
I'm not sure I want to think about it.
Why am I going points? Pick T.
Yes, wide open.
Bruno Fernandes.
I'm gonna say a statistic.
Bruno Fernandes.
It's not gonna put anybody off this. Newcastle can see 11 goals in the last 4 Premier League home games.
Yeah, I think Bruno Fernandes probably.
That, for the record, is against the might of Leeds, Villa, Brentford, and Everton. They've got problems. I think Newcastle as well eyes probably very much on what's happening in the FA Cup and the Champions League, because actually their inconsistencies mean that even putting them in contention for Conference League place, which probably goes to 8th or something, you wouldn't have much trust in them. But it's still very achievable. I mean, they're 7 points behind Brentford, for example. They could easily get themselves in contention. And they do have some good fixtures mixed with some difficult away trips, I'd say. It's what Chelsea, Arsenal, Fulham final day. United at home. You probably fancy Manchester United to go there and beat them at the moment, though. We'll see what Simon and Alex say. That's Clash of Correspondents said this week. But yeah, there's something there for Bruno Fernandes, maybe. It's what I'm saying is it's a better fixture than a normal Newcastle away fixture, is my point. Newcastle will have half an eye on Saturday as well, and then Champions League next week as well. So Newcastle, Manchester United, I don't think will take the emotional significance for Newcastle that it normally would do. So, yeah, if people just want to go, I would say safe, you pick the player that you think will score the most points. Yeah, Fernandez could be in and around it, but so could other United players and Manchester United players. Newcastle, for me, I wouldn't be looking at. As said, there's a maybe opportunity there with Anthony Gordon, but it would be, as I suppose, as punty as Mo Salah is at the moment, to tell you the truth. Um, yeah, geez, not good. Not good. They played Joe Linton like left wing. It's a bit awkward. Changed it later in the game. Pope, awful mistake on Beto's goal, wasn't it? Illiman and Dye owners be a bit disappointed. 3 goals for Everton, no returns. But I know if you were holding him for Burnley at home this week, they may even look at him as a captaincy option. There's a real differential this week, Illiman Dye. The problem is, because I look at that and think, oh, immediate problem. Oh, stick and die in Burnley at home. Don't like the fixtures afterwards, though. Arsenal away, Chelsea at home. It's not great.
Leeds 0, Manchester City 1. It got them up to only a couple of points behind Arsenal. The gap's opened up to 5 points again. Thankfully, Leeds lost. We both need them to keep doing that, even though
I don't even look at Leeds. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I do, just because
No.
I want to. I look as high as even Crystal Palace, mate. To be honest with you, they could lose every game the season.
There's only 3 teams involved in this.
Yeah, no. I'm not letting you kill the hope that anyone else could get dragged into it. Who did Leeds play midweek this week?
Sunderland at home.
The reason I also look at it is 6 points between us and Leeds. We play them. So, if you think if it comes down to having to beat them, then all we need is a gap of 3 points to be able to overtake them, though their goal difference is significantly better. So we're not trying to catch them to the point of overtaking them, but getting within 2 points would give us a fighting chance.
Okay.
Have you played them twice this season already?
No, that's their penultimate away game is against us.
Right. So this is it where you've got to play Forest and Leeds still between now and the end of the season.
I'm not having this, Such. Honestly, Leeds' remaining home games are Sunderland, Brentford, Wolves, Burnley, and Brighton. Their away games are Crystal Palace, Manchester United, Bournemouth, Tottenham, and West Ham. Right, they ain't gonna have a problem, mate. By the time that they play my team, I would expect them to be well in excess of 40 points. I'm more likely to invest in their players than say they're in relegation trouble.
They're 6 points off the bottom. They're in relegation trouble. They're not in trouble. They're in the hunt.
I get it. Listen, circumstance here for Leeds where they keep saying, let's say they drew all of the next 3 games, right? It's not that improbable, for example. Okay, they're still in and around it. I'm still going to look at them and think they beat Wolves and Burnley at home and get themselves to 40 points, mate, even under that sort of circumstance, right? So they've got get out of jail cards all the way through because of the fixtures, but they've also earned it. They've done very well in tough games. And I tell you what, they did well again on Saturday. In that opening 20-25 minutes, the pressure they put on Manchester City was so impressive. They absolutely went from them. I think Haaland's absence helped even more with that because City go direct more often now because they know if they can isolate Haaland. You leave yourself 1v1 with Haaland, you're taking a risk. That's probably what Leeds would have done. But you probably then got the inspiration to be even braver about it. Because you're not worried about, okay, I'm 1v1 with Semenyo and Marmoush. Yeah, they can do me. But Haaland, if it's over your head, you're finished. So I think they got even braver about it, and I think it inspired them. And they were really good in that opening quarter. I was watching it thinking, wow, this is some effort. But actually, at the same time, in the second half, that's the happiest I've been watching Manchester City in quite some time. So I know they didn't particularly put the game to bed. I know they didn't create a load of chances. And yeah, sure, last 5 minutes or so, a ball can drop in and around the box and something might go wrong. But for the first time in quite some time, I saw them play what I feel a Manchester City team should look like in the second half of a football match that's winning. They controlled the match. And I think a big reason for that is Cherki. It's outstanding. The thing is, you can ping it and fire it into him. And in this current system, he's allowed to float across pockets between left and right half spaces. And he's got this real aura when he's on the ball that he's not going to give it away. If he gives it away, it's because he's trying to play a killer pass. And his killer pass for Ait-Nouri, the pre-assist for Semenyo's goal is, wow. Just the timing of it is so perfect. He's a brilliant player. This system that they're playing at the moment really suits. Now, it's kind of looked a little bit kind of diamond-ishy with like split forwards. But in this at the weekend, it was even more of like 4-2-2-2. They were even setting up on occasions with Bernardo Silva and Rodri, either side of Donnarumma on goal kicks, with Gay and Diaz moving out into fullback positions and the fullbacks moving further on, right? But Bernardo sat deeper alongside Rodri with license to go and join in more than Rodri. And O'Reilly and Cherky played ahead of that as a box. Cherky get on it, O'Reilly get in the box. And it's been working so nicely for them recently. But yeah, I was really impressed with their control in the second half. I'm watching the game and I think I'm comfortable. Whereas I've been watching Manchester City games in second halves recently, going, you're going too deep, too early, and like just control the game. Just control the game because you're the better team. And Leeds obviously had put so much into the first half. So you can't sustain that for 90 minutes. So had to, at long periods, sit there. And they did a really good job of limiting Manchester City to limited chances. But yeah, that was better from City in a roundabouts way, even though it wasn't thrilling.
Yeah. It's a bit difficult to buy their players because the blank's coming up and what have you, unless you've got a free hit strategy or something that gets you through it.
I agree, but let's sell it this way, right? We're talking about people like Salah and stuff like that. It's like, I don't want him. I don't.
Just go elsewhere.
I don't want him. Yeah, but it's if you think, if Haaland's out, my opinion would be that Semenyo's the best captain this week. So why not just maybe go there?
Yeah, I get it.
It's psychological. It'll play on people's minds as well. So it's like, let's say Haaland and Rice are out as an example. A lot of people will have that combo. And then you go, I don't know, let's say Ekitike and Semenyo, which would be great, right? For people. But you're like, I'm still leaving 7-8 million in the bank. Well, you know what? In the short term, that just might be the right decision. Yeah. So I think for me to want to go Semenyo, I probably need clarity that Haaland is out, I think. But he's under consideration. For me, with the Salah, it's about Tottenham specifically as well. And of course, on the Salah path, it's like, right, I'm not making any transfers. I might be down to just O'Reilly knocking about for me, and might just leave that as dead space if he's out for a while, possibly. So, yeah, I think O'Reilly might be a problem that might need replacing. There's not many places I want to go to. Semenyo is the standout in terms of City midfielders. I wouldn't try and cut half measures with all Cherky's back in the team. If you've held, there's every chance he'll play again. Haaland, we need to wait for info. My instinct, by the way, is that Haaland will play. Okay. That's my instinct. I don't have... No one's DM'd me or anything. I don't have anything on that. For Leeds, there are some interesting ones here because I've just mentioned them fixtures. So Joe Rodon might have picked up a problem. Before coming off, he was feeling his hamstring. And that'll be another one that's a sickener to people that they'll have another flag player because they're probably looking at Sunderland at home thinking, well, if I have to play it in that, that's fine, right? So Goodmanson is a possibility for me. Just as 3.8 go in as my O'Reilly, because that would also allow me in a different roundabouts way. I could go something like O'Reilly to Goodmanson, and then I can go Rice to Semenyo that way as an alternative. So Goodmanson is a real consideration for myself. And in terms of forwards, if Haaland replacements, we haven't mentioned him yet, but why not Dominic Calvert-Lewin with them fixtures? Suj's face spoke a lot for those listening to the audio. He was not happy with that suggestion at all.
No, it's not.
Let me tell you that Ed might captain him, but Ed's captaincies don't always work out. Shout out, Ed. Hope you're well, mate.
Look, I don't own Ekitike, so that's clearly a better option for me. I don't own João Pedro, despite getting punched in the face, so that's clearly a better option for me. I still think Raul Jimenez is an interesting option. I think Sesko now has put himself in the ring a little bit to be considered. We talked about Sesko before.
I agree, by the way. Ekitike, Thiago first and foremost, if Haaland is a sell and you don't own. But so many people, but if you look across the next three, Sesko, with possibly concerning minutes, is Newcastle, Bournemouth away and Villa at home, or Calvert-Lewin is Sunderland, Brentford at home and Palace away. Now, if you want to go fixtures, Calvert-Lewin, I totally get Sesko is in form, and I would imagine, I'll see what Alex says on COTT, but I imagine Alex will say, well, yeah, probably expect him to play again now and continue. But you got Ahmad Diallo knocking on the door. It's too good to be sitting on the bench every week, right? Whereas Calvert-Lewin, he's going to get a rest probably against Norwich in the FA Cup at the weekend. You're good. You're good for these three games, I
One
think.
goal in 7
I
for
know.
Calvert-Lewin.
Like, none of it is inspiring. Let's be real.
Yeah, it's not. Danny
This is
Welbeck might be
why
another option.
a lot of people. Oh,
He's 2 and 2.
You should sell Haaland. There's what a lot of people have been saying. Oh, Haaland's not worth the money. But now we're sitting here going, well, we're not sure, and we don't actually want to buy anyone. Well, I don't because I've got the two clear options already. So I'm looking at Calvert-Lewin, João Pedro, Bowen, Sesko. None of it's grabbing me, mate.
Yeah, I get it.
Might just
Let's
buy
talk about
Richarlison for shits and giggles because, yeah, as if I'm doing that.
talk about even doing it. Brighton 2, Forest 1. Grateful to the Seagulls. The first time in my life that I'm quite happy with a Seagull because patrons will know I don't like them. That's the animal, not the team. 2-1 in the end. Great goal from Gibbs White. Lovely finish. Just thankful that Brighton just went straight back up the other end and made it 2-1.
Nothing can sum up my concern for Tottenham at this moment more than, you know me, Serge, I don't look at other results while Tottenham are playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 times in the second half I checked if Forest were still losing.
Yeah.
Because my team weren't going to do anything, so my only hope was that they didn't make the day worse as well. I've not seen a lot of this. Obviously, all the goals in a really early period of the game. Matt Sells played in goal. We said on the weekend that we thought Stefan Ortega finished the game against Fenerbahce, but it probably wasn't quite right from the Thursday night. I think Sells should probably do better, although he's probably very much surprised by the fact that Diego Gomez took the effort on. It's a great goal from his perspective. And that came after some very uncharacteristic errors from Nico Williams in the build-up to that, who's normally pretty reliable at whether playing left or right back. I understand from some of the Forest guys as well that Murillo didn't have his best day either. Their problem as well for Forest is they want to be a bit more aggressive now. I think the team is suited at its best when it kind of goes low block and can use people like Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs White on transition, the counter and stuff like that. They're trying to play a bit more of a high aggressive energy, and it's making them a little bit more vulnerable. And if they're going to concede goals, where you and I do have some hope, Such, with Nottingham Forest, is that they don't score many. And the goal has come here from a goal from outside the box, right? A low probability effort. And Verbruggen has not been running around his goal, making save after save. He has ended up with a save point. So with Forest, for me, are the best of the 3 teams involved in the relegation fight. You and I had that discussion last week because I think through that spine of Murillo, Elliot Anderson, great. If those 2 players got injured, you'd have very, very real concerns for them. And the concern, generally speaking, is it's goals. So when you have home games like Fulham, Burnley, Newcastle, Bournemouth, and Villa, they've got 5 very winnable home games left, Nottingham Forest. But are they going to be reliable enough now defensively to also get the goals offensively? So yeah, they're still in trouble. You and I can keep our fingers crossed that hopefully they're not any closer to us after this week, because touchwood, Man City will do the job. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, do you know there's something nerve-wracking about that? I feel I can't trust Man City to do us a favour on Wednesday. I don't know what it is about it. I'm looking at it like, great. If we beat Fulham, we'll be at the relegation zone because City are surely going to do Forest. I don't feel like that. I feel like there's every chance that Forest might get something out of that game, and I don't like it.
Of course they can. Listen, we've seen many examples of teams massively in the shit and suddenly get like these teams almost feel more likely at this stage of the season to nick potentially off a title challenger, more likely to nick a point off a title challenger than maybe say a mid-table team at this stage of the season. But if Forest go aggressive in the press and get beat, as in on the press, they'll get beat in the football match as well. So I think they'll probably need to go a little bit more basic planning. The other problem as well is if you're trying to press more aggressively, they're obviously doing this at a period where they play Thursday, they play Sunday. then it's going to be Wednesday at City. That's not ideal. So City really probably should do the job. But after that, there's Forest after that have 4 games. There's every chance they're going to get results in. And that's probably going to be a key period for them. Well, 5 games, arguably, Sunderland away. But they can get a game in any game left. Chelsea 35, Man United 37. Chelsea's home form's not great. Man United away 37 might have like top 4 wrapped up. So yeah, they've got plenty of games they can still get results in. Nottingham Forest, it's scoring goals is just a question. Brighton have had a couple of good results, got themselves well out of trouble. A bit more consistency with the team lineup. Lewis Dunk on 9 yellow cards might be a noteworthy one for anyone who owns. And obviously, as a consequence, they may well suffer in games that he misses if he's suspended. One of which could well be Liverpool in game week 31. Such segue to something else.
Well, we're not picking any Spurs players for FPL teams.
Why not?
Unless you really are.
Why not?
Richarlison, man.
Listen, Richarlison, right? Richarlison's goals per minute's phenomenal. It has to be said.
Buy him. Go on then, everybody, buy him. But I'm not going to be, and I think neither is James. Fulham, on the other hand, I mean, they racked up an XG over 2. And did well. Comfortably, deserve to win this game. There's no doubt about it. Get it off your chest. Whatever you want to, just save something back for Tottenham on Wednesday.
I won't have any trouble doing that because there's probably more will happen in the next couple of days. Let's do Fulham first.
But genuinely, we're not buying any Spurs players for fantasy, are we?
No.
Okay.
No. Genuinely, there might be a discussion heading into game week 31. There might be. And yes, Ricky and Mark are coming on for COTC prior to game week 31. Can you host it for me?
Yes.
No, the people don't want that. Right, Fulham first.
Jump in the comments on YouTube.
Don't do that. Don't be horrible people.
If 50 people say they want me to host it, I will do it. Ricky's had enough of your voice already.
They want to see me squirm in front of Mark Southerns. Let's be real.
Listen, by the time you get there, if you're below him in the table, then yeah, you'll be squirming. No doubt about it.
Well, there's every chance. There's
unlikely, but you could be.
Okay, let's do Fulham first, or I won't do anything on them. So look, Anderson will probably play against yourselves, I would think. There's definitely nothing yesterday. Issa Diop's going to nick his place. You know him well enough. Anderson's captain. If he's well, he'll play. If he's not well, he won't. I suspect Marco Silva will probably say, we need to assess him. Fairly obvious. But in any case, he'd still be very useful for me in game week 30, 31. So Joachim Anderson won't go anywhere for me. Harry Wilson, we need to monitor. But I would suggest the fact that he carried on. O'Reilly carried on for like 5 minutes and was like, no. Wilson's basically played over half of the second half with an apparent problem reported at half time. My instinct is, as I said, he's probably seen Tell come on left wing and thought, I'm going to have to put a bit more into this. And I'm not 100%. Okay, fine. Let's call it. There's another game on Wednesday. So again, unless it's a serious problem, I don't want to sell Harry Wilson. It's a difficult buy though, isn't it? Because as I said earlier, truthfully, if Harry Wilson was past fit and someone said to me, shall I buy Salah or Harry Wilson? I'm going to tell you buy Harry Wilson. Harry Wilson was the one I fought over Rayan Utara last week. That would have been my priority one to go and get. The other thing with Harry Wilson, looking further ahead, and I think more and more people are coming round to this potential idea, is potentially captaining him in game week 31, by the way. Like if City and Palace doesn't go back in there, 31's not great on the eye. United are at Bournemouth, Newcastle plays Sunderland, Chelsea are at Everton, Liverpool at Brighton. None of it feels great. Harry Wilson at home to Burnley. Why not?
Yeah.
Something to think about. Very difficult buy this week, though, for people who don't own. And I accept that. But I'd also think it's worth considering for those who don't own, if you don't buy him now, will you end up buying him in 31 anyway? And in which case, do you want to take a chance? That's for other people to decide. Raul Jimenez.
Let's say you're sitting there with the choice of Semenyo or Harry Wilson right now. Let's say if I'm selling Declan Rice, I could go to Wilson, I could go to Semenyo. Semenyo gives me the problem of 31. Wilson doesn't. So what would you do?
If you have the luxury, if you had the luxury now, let's look at this realistically. Semenyo probably plays midweek. Right? If you have the luxury now, you're like, I'm not sure what's happening with Wilson. I can go Semenyo for 2 and then go on to Wilson 31. But it's just 1 week then. But you justify it if you were sticking the armband on him as well. And then obviously if Semenyo did still end up playing in 31, then you roll it, and then maybe someone else you might want to go to Wilson. But I do think, let's put it this way, if you were free hitting in game week 31, if he's fit, there's no way you wouldn't go him.
Yep.
No way whatsoever. He gets himself into dangerous positions. He's very creative. He's a really good footballer. He's had an outstanding season, 17 attacking returns now. It's great. Yes, there is an absolute monster overperformance in there, but you also know this is a player very capable of scoring absolute bangers, of which Alex Iwobi scored one. He has, in fairness, turned into an absolutely outstanding central midfield player. And I mentioned him last week as a potential option for people in FPL, but only if it was to complement Wilson, i.e. not over him, but if you wanted him to go with him because of the great fixtures Fulham have got, and maybe you're dead end in 31, by all means. Alex Iwobi will get a little bit of interest this week. He's now popped off, obviously, 2 double-digit returns, and impressively, in this one, obviously he's picked up the top bonus, despite Wilson obviously getting goal and assist. So 23 points over the last 2 for Alex Iwobi. He's the sort of player you wouldn't buy, generally speaking, in fantasy. But if it's dead ending somewhere, I don't mind it. It is worth saying his last attacking return before the last 2 was in game week 14. You can't be surprised if you invest and it ends up being 3 blanks. Anderson is still the only one to invest in defensively. Wait on information. Don't take half measures on Tatty and stuff like that, because ultimately they don't keep enough clean sheets.
Yeah.
Yesterday, in terms of DEFCONs, it's only Ryan Sessegnon who's classified as a midfielder who's here anyway, right? Very good, Fulham. They have brilliant fluidity and movement off the ball. They have nice rotation of players in terms of position. Smith Rowe, 1 minute, he'll pop up right half space, and he's popping up left half space. Quite impressed when Chukwueze came on, by the way. So in a world where Marco Silva goes, tell you what, Harry Wilson's out for a month, that would be really punty at 5.3. Wouldn't do it myself, but again, it's short term. He was very lively when he came on. Tottenham completely played into Fulham's hands, but they were very, very good. And truthfully, Suj, a fair reflection of the game would have been about 4-0. Okay. They give us the absolute slapping and destroying that I told you last week that I suspected that they might, because they're a very good football team. Full credit to them.
So they're going to beat us, are they, on for Wednesday?
No, not necessarily. Because you're a better football team than us. And the major difference between the two of us is in players like Bowen and Somerville, you have absolute direct threats. You also have a midfield player who can play football in Matheus Fernandes.
Yeah, I think we have a little bit more of a fight around our team at the moment as well. Players will put a shift in. I don't think your players have got the cojones for it at the moment.
I said to you on Tottenham and Patreon last week, you got to understand that a lot of these, and it's a problem for all 3 clubs down there, but I think even more so for Tottenham, most of those players want out of the football club. They'll be talking to their agents, get me stuff lined up for the summer, because they know if it goes down, they're definitely going. And actually, if they stay up, some of them might have to stay. This is good, isn't it? It's counterproductive. I used a great example of Bissouma. The club doesn't want him, but they expect him to go out there and give his all. Even though, admittedly, Bissouma can be a bit of a dick himself. Kevin Danso, late substitute, is a good bonus. Because I can't be watching any more Radu Dragusin. My God. Laquai is suspended for Thursday. That's the other bit of good news. We've got another injury. Jed Spence, this time, missed out. Calf problem, which also, by the way, it was calf problem for Jed Spence a few weeks ago. So there's every chance he's just been playing through an injury. I understand he's pretty much 50-50 for the game on Thursday. Igor Tudor changed the system, basically played 4-4-2 with across the course of the football match, right midfield started with Gallagher, then became Papsar, then actually finished with Archie Gray playing right wing. Archie Gray had started the game at left back. Tottenham yesterday put on, sorry to Fulham fans to say this because you well deserve to win, probably the worst man-to-man press I've ever seen in my life. It's just atrocious. They can't do it. They can't do it. So you've got a manager who's come in who's notoriously his back three manager. He's realised that he hasn't got anyone who can play like in a wing back system. Basically, he's got two centre backs have been available. Admittedly now three, although one of them is absolutely atrocious. He's had one wing back available yesterday in Porro because Spence was out. He's got no wingers. He can't really play with flank players, and nobody in the midfield who can pass the football. So he's decided to change the system. I don't have a problem with that. But they cannot press man-to-man. They're not fit enough. They're not strong enough. And with man-to-man dueling, quite often you need to be better than your opponent. Let's not pretend that Fulham haven't got 11 better footballers than us, because we do. And if Tottenham fans don't believe that, need to wake up. Really, really need to wake up.
Big night on Thursday.
We got absolutely destroyed. I don't know what happens next. What I can say is, in terms of any positives, Richarlison, is a player that I'm not hugely keen on. But you know what? I need players out there who die for me at the moment. And he is one that I know, no matter what, he is out there giving it and trying. And therefore, there probably needs to quite quickly be a place to find for him. And truthfully, he's got 8 goals this season. So in the key moments, he does seem to pop up with the odd goal and stuff. Matisse Tell was a big plus when he came on, left wing. As I said, I think it had an impact on Harry Wilson potentially going off. As soon as he got on the ball, he wanted to go and run at Tete. Didn't get it right all the time. Got a few bits right. Suddenly, the crowd had someone that they could get behind and support. He needs putting in the team on Thursday night. For him to be in the team, we have to play a back four. For us to play a back four, we can't play with a man-to-man system. But I think he's going to keep doing it. That midfield is so bad. Have you seen the Paulinho incident?
No, I'm shaking my head for the older listeners.
Just go on Twitter and just put Paulinho in. You'll just find it. You will find it straight away, Serge. He managed to do a slide tackle with no one within 3 yards of him. The ball comes to him, and rather than stepping onto it and controlling the football, he just slide tackles it down the pitch. Have you also seen Vicario take a free kick like 15 yards outside the area? So he's going to play direct into the front guys, right? We're going long. It bounces just before the goal line. It's unbelievable. It's like he was trying to sniper us in the away end, mate. Vicario can't come out the team because what people forget is that the other goalkeepers are worse than him. And it's just true. It's the reality. So Thursday is a huge football match. I think we'll get bait, truth. But I do recognise that the Kwa being out is a big problem for Palace. And amongst Mawani, Solanke and Richarlison, we do have players that can, like, that element of it is obviously better than what Forest have got in the 9 position at the moment in terms of reliability of goals output. So that gives us a chance. But yeah, we've got to try and win that football match on Thursday night. And if we go man to man, I've been very serious. The likes of Ismail Assar and Munoz on transition are going to destroy us.
Well, look, I watched Manchester United 2, Palace 1, and I was very torn in the first 20 to 30 minutes because obviously I want Palace to get dragged back down into it, even though they are far too clear of us. But I also watched what I saw in the first 20, 30 minutes thinking these lot will beat Spurs easy because they were really good in the first 20, 30 minutes, I thought, against Manchester United. Really odd game, Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 1. Not odd game, I suppose it's one of those things. I think Manchester United, it just took them 20, 30 minutes to wake up and realise, oh, actually there's a football match here that we need to play and win. And Palace, I think after the first 15, 20, 30 minutes, we're like, every time we press these and if we play with like really pressurise them, we're getting in here and creating chances for ourselves. And then kind of Manchester United were like, hang on a second, we need to sort our lives out here. And then Palace didn't get as much joy. And then obviously by the time they've had a man sent off, It's only going one way. The momentum completely switched back to Manchester United. But I did see enough from Palace in the first 30 minutes to think they've got something about them that would give you guys some trouble, particularly because it's going to be a home game for them as well. Though I take the fact that Lacroix being out is a problem. But we saw for Manchester United the front four, that's the big front four, isn't it? In Bumo, Fernandes, Cunha, and Sesko, particularly if you talk about how much money they spent on that front line in the summer. And they've managed to get themselves over the line here, 2-1, and third in the table, and comfortably see off top four now, really, you'd think, with the current form that they're in.
Can I ask the question that's on all the listeners' minds?
Yeah.
How was the toilet?
Oh, fine. Yeah. yeah. Probably better than the one of you might have had to visit at Fulham's Craven Cottage yesterday.
Truthfully, what Tottenham should do, it should be aggressive on the ball. Palace will once you break the first line of so Palace go aggressive really high, and then they obviously form into low block. They're very difficult to play through. But Tottenham should see more of the ball on Thursday night than they ordinarily do. That might also be problematic. But also, Palace also struggled way around to break teams down that then say, right, okay, we're going to have to sit off. Yeah, go and press high. Both teams go and press high, then sit off mid-block into low block. That's the right strategy for both teams. There is a chance then that it cancels each other out potentially on Thursday night. Look, Palace over the next two. It's Tottenham Leeds. For anybody who was on a committed free hit 31 strategy, your next fixtures are Tottenham away, Leeds at home, Newcastle at home, West Ham at home. So if you've committed to that strategy, I don't advise it, but then Palace appeal to you more than any other team under that particular circumstance. So those who are on Munoz, Sarr, etc., you're not leaving it. And I'd recommend anyway, you don't leave Palace assets till 31, now that this Manchester United game's been and gone. So if it's Sarr, Munoz, Larson, Chris Richards, and all these guys are absolutely fine to play this week. If you're looking at it like, oh, it's Tottenham away, it's a green fixture, guys. You can play it.
I thought it was at their place. It's at your place. All right.
Fine.
You're definitely going to get more of the ball.
It'd probably be better for us if it was at Selhurst Park.
Yeah, true. Actually, based on your current home form, I get that. Other than Lacroix is a pain, but I might just hide him this week.
I wouldn't just go home form with Tottenham at the moment. I'd probably
form.
But actually, they're probably better off away from the crowd at the moment. But the crowd can help them. I mean, the support actually at Craven Cottage was very good yesterday, largely. The problem is for the rest of us, do you invest in that for Palace? I mean, could I look at Larson as a solve for me? Tottenham Leeds and then Newcastle 32.
I'd put Bowen over Larson. That says it all.
Mateta is due back roughly for 30, we think. And I don't think with the Lacroix suspension, despite what we said about Tottenham, I don't think you dive in defensively and chase after Munoz and Richard. I mean, Richards is the only one of the centre-backs you could buy really at this moment. No, you're not chasing it. United, though, real interest. So Sesko might genuinely offer up a solution here. And what I've got to think is, if Haaland is out, is that anybody who hasn't got Ekiteke or Thiago probably goes and just gets that sorted, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So it opens up opportunities for others. But he scored in the last three. 8 points in each. He'd scored the winner against Fulham before that. And in the game that he didn't return in, he only got 15 minutes against Tottenham, and quite how he missed pretty much the last effort of the game. He just didn't get proper contact on what would have been another Bruno Fernandes assist. So Sesko could be something that I decide to punt for a few weeks. My concern with that is, does it stay in the team? Amad Diallo is such a good footballer as well. It almost needs one of them to be injured, and then it kind of feels perfect.
Yeah, I love lost his place for something.
I love his headed goal, by the way. Such a good header. His finish at Everton was brilliant as well. His finish against us was brilliant. Was class. Yeah, he's good. There's a player in there. I think he just needs to be brought out. Yeah. Without a doubt, there's a player in there. He's 7.3, so he falls into a line where I'm sure most people. I would not buy him over Ekiteke or Thiago at this moment in time, personally, because I still think there's a risk element to it. But for those who are on that kind of template free at the moment, he's under consideration. He just has to be as maybe like a form horse. Is someone every year, Sergio, first half of the season, you don't get much out of them, and then second half, scored
They're on
11,
a
12
tear.
goals in the
Yeah.
second half of the season, and I blinked and I missed that. He could be the guy. And they're a very different football team now to what they were, obviously, start of January and going back into last year. Got freedom now. And obviously in Fernandes, you have and Bumo and Cunha, players who can create for him at any moment. So that helps. It's like, the support cast behind him will feed opportunities for him as well. Um, Bumo Cunha, that's obviously solution as well. If you need to buy a midfield player this week, I don't know. I'm not in love with it. I think would it be
I'm
Boomer? Would it be Boomer over Cunha? That's probably right, isn't it? I think.
I'm looking at Bumo in my team, and it's just a problem I don't have to solve. That's why he's going to stick it out.
Are
If
you
I
happy
didn't have
with
any
him
other
though?
flags, I'd rather own Semenyo than Bumo. I'm not
Yeah,
happy
don't
with him.
compare. I'm just
But
asking you, as a Boomer owner, how do you feel? Are you confident with him or?
no, but if you look at his last three, 6-6-2, like even going back, he still chips away. It's like, okay, he blanked, but I had 6 the week before, 6 the week before, 8 the week before, then a blank, but then 10, 9. Like he ticks along nicely. He just hasn't gone off. But I think he has a really high ceiling. Bumo in any given game week could get me 15 points. So I'm gonna leave him in there for now. And he's a differential, James. Like I'm thinking now for the last 10 game weeks of the season to go a bit rogue. I think Bumo, I'm happy to leave in as a differential. I know he'll play. If he's
Something
not playing
to
9, he'll play right. So I know Bumo will play.
um, anybody that doesn't own Bruno Fernandes, if Haaland is out, is going to end up taking that route, and that would be top pick of midfielders, by the way. Even though it's Newcastle
Yeah.
away, that's
Yeah.
clear top
Yeah.
pick as far as I'm concerned. Something to think about for game week 30 is Manchester United have Aston Villa at home, and could be an awkward week for captaincy. Haaland is away. You may want to take it on. I've mentioned about Liverpool playing at home to Tottenham. I think Chelsea at home to Newcastle is quite awkward in the sense of what I said, Chelsea's Champions League games with PSG Wednesday before and Tuesday afterwards. And Brentford at home to Wolves. Like Thiago, don't want to stick the armband on him. Bruno Fernandes, last 5 home games, Suj. You know his returns.
No.
Actually, I lie. Let's say the last 4 home games under Michael Carrick. It's 43
10,
points.
10, 10, 13.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
43 points, only 3 attacking returns.
Just go back before that. You want Bournemouth 13. Yeah.
Oh, is that the last home game he played before that? It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because
yeah. He didn't play
against
Newcastle and Wolves.
Newcastle. So actually, he had a one before that is Bournemouth. There was a 4-pointer against West Ham. Was a DEFCON blank against Everton. I want to say, I think this is going to be right, that those are the only 2 home games he's blanked in. West Ham, Everton. I mean, the 4-pointer against West Ham isn't even a blank, is it? I've just looking back. 3-pointer against Sunderland. To be fair, but. And Arsenal, obviously, opening day as well. But yeah, lots in there. Double digits against Burnley, Chelsea, game week 3 and 5 as well. So, so over his last 5 home games, in fact, if you include that game, the 4-4 draw against Bournemouth.
56?
In 5.
Yeah, it's monster.
So, with that in mind, when you land at game week 30, should you just go Fernandes captain? And also longer term, let's say Haaland stays fit. And let's say that Haaland did play in 31. Well, they always alternate, don't they? Is this just Captain Haaland at home and Captain Fernandes at home?
Could be.
Just as a run. Could be, obviously, you've got a Palace fixture to go in there somewhere and stuff like that. But I think particularly in home games, even more so, Fernandes for captaincy, almost irrespective of opponent, needs real consideration. Villa at home, Liverpool at home are the 2 hardest ones they've got left. That's not scary from that particular perspective. Obviously, I said Haaland away, West Ham and Everton respectively. Those are game weeks 30 and game week 35. And if the big man is out this week, you have to know that Fernandes EO will be 100%. That Newcastle will concede 11 goals from their last 4 home games. He's not going to scare anyone. And if people have got doubt and don't know what to do, they'll just go Fernandes. I would probably rather take a different route this week. I think I prefer Ekiteke. I think I prefer Semenyo. Um, and Wilson's a candidate, by the way, if he's given the all clear against yourselves, I think.
Okay. Let's wrap up, James, because we've been going on. We always talk about how we're not going to have a long show, and it's been a
Yeah,
monster
it's
one.
the worst yet.
Arsenal 2, Chelsea 1.
Well, we've
Arsenal
got no
good.
time for this now. End the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, the highly owned Gabriel Rice, Timber all returning, and then Saliba with the other goal as well. What's your thoughts on the Raya punch on Pedro, for example, by the way?
Minor.
Difference between that and Areola on Gibbs White?
Straight on.
But so it has to be a straight punch so that hits the head of the defender to be a foul.
I think it's one that could have been given, but I certainly wouldn't want a VAR reference to that one. Whereas I think in the West Ham Forest one, I think it was probably right.
It's the angle of the punch. It's the angle of the punch is what you're saying makes a difference.
Force
the
as well.
Angle with which you
I think force as well. I did see it back. I saw one angle of it last night from the side on. It's like, yeah, there's a connection, but these things look worse when they're slowed down. Refereeing decisions, I'm so tired of it. It's like, I could moan about the Dragishin one yesterday. Yeah, I'm sick of Tottenham fans comparing the Dragishin and the Moani one, right? In each incident where Tottenham feel like they've been aggrieved of pushes in the back this year, in every scenario, the on-field decision has stood. Right, I don't want VAR involvement, so let's crack on and play football.
Yep. All righty. Arsenal, decent here. To come away with the 3 points and keep that lead, that's all they needed, really, wasn't it? At the end of the day, is 3 points and not worry too much.
Very big and important game. I think Chelsea. I didn't watch the game, but Chelsea posed some interesting tweaks tactically. So, like Palmer played much more of a left-sided role, and I think Arsenal, from what I understand, had a kind of a period of indecision of who was going to pick him up, and that was causing a bit of problems. I understand Chelsea started the second half very well. And I suppose the alarming thing from theirs and Arsenal's perspective is kind of wham towards the end. So a lot being made now of this Chelsea red card record following Pedro Neto. I mean, it's silly. I mean, it's a ninth. I think they've had 9 red cards now this season.
9.
I think it's 9 different players.
9 different players as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Martinelli even tries to get him off because Martinelli tries to get up, doesn't he? Referee, by the way, has to do the right thing because under law, what you're meant to do is if a player is going to be sent from the field, it has to be done immediately, is what the correct law would be. So people think he should have played advantage first. That's why he's probably made that decision. So they've got a discipline problem. Clear, it's happened too often now, isn't it? They're giving the player sent off once every 4 games, in effect, right? That's pretty shite. He's probably 5+ with cup games, admittedly. He'll be suspended for the trip to Villa, and that makes Villa's life a little bit easier because Chelsea don't have other real wingers to call upon with trust. Esteval would be the other one. Is Garnacho going to get trusted against someone like Matty Cash? I don't know if he will. It might mean Chelsea go very narrow against Villa, possibly. So you might get something system-wise that looks a little bit different for them. For Arsenal, I think the concerning aspect, and this won't go away for them until they start putting games to bed. And I'm not suggesting that yesterday is one that necessarily should have put to bed. They're playing a difficult opponent who did some things tactically were challenging. But Arsenal's possession number was pretty low after the red card. I think Chelsea completed double the passes of Arsenal after the red card. That shouldn't happen. So you're bringing anxiety.
No.
Yeah, but you've got a man. You're the best team in the league, and you've got a man more.
Yeah, true.
So you should, at that point, should be kick the ball. And unless Arsenal fix that, they're going to have nervy moments like they had at the end of the game yesterday. I get it. If you keep the ball and you don't get the third, obviously Chelsea are going to win a free kick or something. You're going to have to deal with one scramble moment or stuff. But that of letting Chelsea almost dictate a little bit with a man short, shouldn't be happening. You should be imposing yourselves. And I think it's just a breed of like fear. I'm going to say indecision. It's just a little bit of fear that when you're under pressure and duress, And when I say pressure, I talk about the consequence of result rather than necessarily what's happening. You revert to what you know is strongest for you. And Arsenal know they will trust themselves to obviously defend well rather than potentially leave themselves to exposure. But with a man extra, you shouldn't be leaving yourself exposed by retaining the football either. So that's something they'll have to work on. Otherwise, they're going to put their fans through some more nervous moments between now and the end of the season. In truth, I don't think you chase after Arsenal assets at this moment. If Rice misses the Brighton game, it would be a blow. I'd imagine they'd have too much for them. I would expect him probably to play again. I was a little bit concerned prior to the weekend, or maybe Brighton midweek, they might rotate. It sounds like Ben White might still be a problem. Odegaard's still an issue. His knee is still bothering him from the Brentford game. So I expect them to pick quite a similar team again, I think, for the Brighton game and probably for the Everton game as well, despite the fact it falls for them either side of Champions League games Wednesday, Tuesday. They've got a better tie. And obviously their priority first and foremost should be this. The Champions League draw also enables them, you would think, to consistently go strong in the league. For those who've used their wild card, they should be able to consistently go strong in the league, more so than if Man City go all the way through. It's just obvious consequence. For Arsenal to hit a semi-final, they have to beat Bayer Leverkusen and one of Sporting or Bodo Glimt. For Manchester City to get to a semi-final, they've got to beat Real Madrid and then probably Bayern Munich. So those games versus the games that Arsenal will have is very different. Now, a different consequence might be that Man City lose to Real Madrid and then the end of the season opens up and you go, strongest team in the league all the way through the end, right? Might be different. Something to consider in your thinking. For Chelsea, I mean, Cole Palmer is not a consideration. Even if all this money's spare, it's just not interested, especially within PSG games. What am I getting for Newcastle in game week 30? It's like, I don't know. Could be similar for João Pedro. I think you could foresee Delap playing that game against Newcastle. So I like the idea of João Pedro because I think his form's been really good. He's unlucky with a couple of efforts yesterday. I don't know if I want to be buying a player that essentially I'm getting Villa away, Everton away, City at home. And a sub appearance against Newcastle. That might be what I'm looking at. I don't know if I like that, but he's a decent one form horse. Defensively, I wouldn't chase after at this stage. Fixtures aren't good enough. Even Chalobah might get rotated for, say, that Newcastle game, maybe. So, yeah, no interest in them at the moment. But despite the result, actually, if I'd said to a Chelsea fan on Friday afternoon, you'll end this weekend as close to Villa as you were at the start of the weekend, they'd have settled it before that game. Because what I thought could happen was Villa went like 9 points clear of them. And then if Villa beat Chelsea, then it's like 12 points.
Going to be very difficult then.
Well, now you're looking at it and going, well, if Chelsea win,
could be 3. Yeah.
Then it's just 3 and the momentum against Villa.
Yeah, indeed. Cool. Alrighty, James. Look, we have been through all of the games there and talked quite a length around all of the products. So we are going to skip the questions that we sometimes do a few because obviously we've got a deadline in 36 hours and you need about 2 of those to listen to this. I think my advice would be...
need team news.
Yeah, listen.
It's got to be late decisions tomorrow.
Listen at 1.5x speed and you'll save yourself some time. But yes, deadline stream tomorrow. And if you are a patron, then obviously there'll be Team U stream and other content coming at you as well, including the differential show. Yeah. Well done, James, again on your fantastic game week. Let's hope it continues and the flags aren't as bad as they are. And let's hope for some better results for our own actual football teams this midweek. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Do leave us a 5-star review wherever you are listening to the podcast. If you're on YouTube, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel as we keep marching to grow our subscriber count. I think we're nearly up to 22k, nearly. Maybe you need a few more people. You could be one of them. And most importantly, stay safe, look after yourselves, and play it your way. Ciao for now.
Thanks, everyone. Please be nice to each other. And yes, play it your way. Cue music, please, man child.